So till now we have understood how to create a tensor in TensorFlow, and now we will discuss how to assess and extract values from a tensor by using slicing and indexing. So following is the given table of content. First we will discuss what is slicing in TensorFlow, and next we will discuss indexing of tensor. First we will discuss what is slicing in TensorFlow. So basically the term slicing in Python TensorFlow is usually defined as obtaining a subtensor. Tensor slicing is the most important part of data analysis. When we want to work on a subset of the tensor, then slicing is the technique where we can easily modify the content of n-dimensional tensor object. So in tensor, the slicing is utilized to extract a range of values from an input tensor. The easiest way to slice a tensor is by using the slice function. Suppose we have a tensor of 10 elements and we want to extract some elements from a tensor. Then in this case we can perform slicing and get the required set of values. So to perform this task we are going to use the tf.slice function, and it is used to fetch a subtensor from the tensor and insert data at specific indices in a tensor. So here is the syntax of tf.slice function, and within this function there are mainly two parameters we are going to use in a example. The first one parameter is input. This parameter specifies the input tensor that we want to be splitted. The next parameter defines begin. This parameter used for location we start to split a subtensor from input, and data type must be a int 32 or int 64. The next one parameter is size. This parameter is used to get the size of subtensor extracted from input. The last one parameter is name. It is an optional parameter and it specifies the name of the operation. Now let us take an example and understand how we can extract the tensor in TensorFlow by using tf.slice function. So in this example, first we have imported the TensorFlow library with the alias name tf, and then created a tensor by using tf.constant function, and within the function we have assigned the integer values as a parameter. Next we use the tf.slice function, and inside the function we pass the input tensor for extracting the tensor values. Along with that we have mentioned the begin parameter as well as the size parameter to it. So basically in this example the begin value, that is 2, that means we will start to extract a subtensor from 2. That means this input value is start from 0, 1 and 2. In the result the value will display the 134 value. Also we have mentioned the size parameter and assigned 4 value to it, which means we will get the number 134 on axis 0 and 890 on axis 1. So as you can see that the output comes the slicing of tensor in the form of subtensor that contains extracted values along with the given shape, that is 4, because we have mentioned the size, that is 4. So the another method for extracting tensor is by using colon operator and evenly spaced over a start stop range. Start with the 0 and end with the 4. So after executing this code we have taken a same input tensor as we have already discussed in a previous example. So within this parenthesis I have assigned the value and that extract the values from input tensor. As you can see the output, the values has been extracted from 0 to 4 value. Now if you want to extract the values from a two-dimensional tensor, you can easily first create a two-dimensional tensor by using tf.constant function and get the subtensors by using tf.slice function. So in this example first we have created a tensor by using tf.constant function, and after that I have used the tf.slice function, and within this function I have assigned the random numbers, that is tensor. Along with that I have assigned the begin parameter with size parameter. So after executing this code it will extract value from input tensor, that is 9. So in the given input tensor the values are represented as one for the columns and another one for the row. Both column and row starts from 0 index value. So if you want to extract specific values from a tensor, then you can easily use tf.slice function. Now if you want to extract slices of tensor by striding over the tensor, then you can easily use the tf.strided slice function, and this function is used to fetch a strided slice of an input tensor. Suppose you want to extract this one list in an output, then you can easily pass the values in a begin parameter. So after executing this code, it will extract the values. This function also takes two parameters, that is input and begin, that specifies the input tensor that we want to be splitted by using tf.constant. Along with that, we are going to use begin parameters that defines the location we start to split a subtensor from input, and the data type must be an integer. Now if you want to fetch specific indices from a single axis of a tensor, you can easily use tf.gather function. Basically this function is used to slice the tensor based on the indices. This function takes only two main parameters. The first one is new tensor. The tensor from which to gather the values, and the rank must be a greater than or equal to axis plus 1. The next one parameter is indices. It is an index tensor, and the data type must be an integer 32 or integer 64, and the range value will be start from 0. So in this example, we have created an input tensor by using tf.constant function, and within this function we have assigned the integer values as an argument. So after that, we have created a indices values by using tf.constant function and assign the index values, that is 1 0 1 2. Next we have used the tf.gather function and passed input tensor along with the indices values as an argument. So after executing this code, the output comes a resultant tensor, and it displays the extracted values which we want to choose as per the indices values. Now we will discuss the indexing of tensor. Basically tensor indexing is the most important part of data analysis. By using the indexing, we can easily assess the tensors by specifying or indexing. Now we will discuss the basic indexing on tensor. In TensorFlow, the indexes starts from 0, which means the first value of the input tensor will start indexing from 0. Indexing is an operation that extracts the selective values from a tensor. Now let us talk about indexing on a one-dimensional tensor by using the square bracket. So in the case of a one-dimensional tensor, the index of the first value will be 0, and it increases by 1 for each value. Now we will see an example how we can assess values from a tensor with the help of indexing, and it will return a value. So in this example, first we have imported the TensorFlow library with the alias name tf. So after that, I have created an input tensor by using the tf.constant function. So now I want to assess the first value of a input tensor. For this, I am going to use the tensor name along with the index number that the value has been located, that is 0. As you can see the output, the first element of tensor is displayed, that is 16. Now if you want to get the second value from an input tensor, then you can easily pass the value in a square bracket. If you want to assess the second value, then you can pass the value, that is 1, because index value starts from 0. As you can see that second element of a tensor is 78. So if you want to display the third value, then you can easily pass the value 2 in a square bracket. As you can see the output, the third element of tensor is 19. So with this we have completed the slicing and indexing of tensors.